What? Y'all, I believe we're live. It is December the 11th, 2019. And sit tight real quick because I just got done previewing this particular song I'm fixing to play for y'all right now. As people come in, I think you're going to thoroughly enjoy it, and especially for those who remember Soundgarden from back in the day when they was little. Right, so I'm gonna play this and then we're gonna dive right into it. We're still on the internet, YouTube, man. Anyways.
Taas lagi. Kaya lagi naman dyan. Kaya. Wala pa sa video na tayo wala ka video.
All right, y'all. Let's see we can see who that is. If YouTube would tell us. That was the Ball Breakers actually doing the cover. Spoon Man. And thing is, that goes way back, way back. And, I can't help but feel like that particular selection was very appropriate. In fact, it's almost as though you could play it in the background for the entirety of the rest of this broadcast, probably. I think it would be very fitting. All right, we got some stuff that we're going to dive into. I already got some stuff lined up, actually. Thing is, I got to let y'all know, we put some of the things in the title, and we're gonna get to everything, and then that we're gonna touch base on everything. We're gonna try real hard to get through everything so that we could discuss everything at length, because Lord knows we could, and I want to get y'all's feedback. All right, but we're gonna be hard pressed. We're gonna see how fast we can get it in. All right, shooting for an hour, it's kind of impossible. All right, but that's what we're shooting for. Kind of hour-long broadcast, maybe hour and a half, I guess. All right, so we're just gonna dive right into it. Now I got some stuff set up that we can look at. Let's see. I want to say that if we go to Chrome, all right, we're gonna start off on Chrome. And I want to point y'all's attention. This is local San Antonio news. Hold on, that's what I'm gonna start with. I got bookmarks. All right, so we know where to go. All right, got it all set up. It's official. All right, we're legit around here, but I did want to bring y'all's attention, especially if you're in the local area, something to look forward to. It's something that I heard about a couple of days ago, but we have a breaking news. This is actually from today, from Jeremy Wallace, and it was kind of interesting. It did strike my attention. I wanted to kind of find out. It said, here's how to see Joe Biden in San Antonio on Friday, because I heard that he was coming. Here's the thing. From what I heard, it was secret, all right, basically. And only certain people would know. You'd have to be on his fan list or whatever. You had to be a donor or something. That's what I figured, all right? That's what I figured going into today. I already knew about this. Joe Biden coming to San Antonio. And, of course, I was curious, but they implied in previous articles that it would be kind of a secretive location. I wouldn't know how to see former Vice President Joe Biden, all right? But he will hold his first public campaign event in San Antonio since announcing his latest bid for the White House, right? And then blah, 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 you need to be a subscriber of San Antonio Express News. Y'all, I didn't see that coming. They threw a curveball at me. Shout out to the two people up in the building. Thank you. I see you out there, man. Lend us a word of wisdom. But here's the thing. I wanted to find out how to see Joe Biden, right? Because they were like, okay, yeah, you want to see Joe Biden? I probably won't be able to make it out just because I've been asking around and literally nobody wants to give me a ride to see Joe Biden. I've been asking around. All right, nobody. But I wanted to find out, and so that's why we went to San Antonio Express News. And then they said, nah, you need to pay us some money. It's like, dude, no matter what, they want us to pay us some, they want money from us for whatever. They're nickel and diming us, right? And I have you know they're all on the same side. Like Jeremy Wallace, maybe not him, but he works for San Antonio Express News, which basically is a drag queen publication. And the thing is, they're on the side of like the Joe Bidens. Here's the thing about it. It's interesting because you ask yourself, well, who could legitimately back a Joe Biden in this world? All right. It's hard to say, but people got imaginations, right? Here's the thing. Some people would back a Joe Biden, but also those people would pay money for things that honestly should be for free. Like, the paper, for example, or information. If you're trying to get people hooked, you might want to give them information. No, they're just giving you headlines. They're like, oh, you want to see Joe Biden? And you're like, yeah. And they're like, okay, well, then pay us 99 cents a month, all right? You want to sign a contract? It's like, what? It's like, what? So, okay, but the thing is, they know if you pay that money, see, you're kind of indoctrinated already. Shout out to 3 people up in the building. They know already. It's just 99 cents. It's not a lot. Their publication is not valuable. But the thing is, it's just, you're taking that little baby step. Take that baby step and they know, okay, we got a person who will pay us money for some old BS because they want to know about it. They must want to know about Joe Biden. And then they're like, oh, here's how you see Joe Biden. And I promise you, behind the paywall that we're not seeing, it's like, okay, just join Joe Biden's fan club, all right? It's only going to cost $2.99 a month and stuff. And they're just going to keep going. And the person's going to be like, oh, yeah, I want to be on his fan club. I want to know where Joe Biden's at. And they pay that money. And then they go see Joe Biden. They wind up probably paying for parking or something downtown, some secret location. It's going to be like a little cafeteria or something because Joe Biden can't fill up nothing in San Antonio. Don't nobody want to give me a ride to go see Joe Biden, right? Nobody knows Joe Biden's coming to San Antonio until I tell them. And I do. And shout out to the 3 people up in the building. I just wanted to bring attention to that. That's some of that San Antonio news. Now we got some other news to get into. And I'm not sure. Here's the thing. I put rap RIP up in there, up in the title, all right, because we're kind of gonna touch on that a little bit extensively right now. I think we got to talk about it. I guess speaking of San Antonio, recently, let me see if I put a bookmark on it. I probably should have put a bookmark on it. I don't know how to work the internet, y'all. All right, on the fly, let me see. Bookmarks. Pop. And if we're lucky, I went ahead and I bookmarked a certain person's demise. The thing is, if I didn't do that, I could easily look it up anyways. This guy, he didn't do it. All right, but we're gonna go on to Chrome. I'm gonna work that real quick. Hold on 1 second, y'all. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. We're still gonna get it. All right. Just to touch base, to keep it on San Antonio, I guess I'll draw attention to this. It's the first in a number of hip hop demises and stuff that's been running rampant. Now, it's been running rampant for years, to the point of close to decades, but it's really, really getting exponential now. All right, I probably mentioned it in another video that's available on BitChute, and we're going to talk about that probably in a second. I do have a channel on BitChute, and I have been leaving links below in my recent videos. You can check it out for a link to the BitChute and subscribe, or maybe even just bookmark it. If you don't have an account, a lot of people are getting accounts. I got to let you know. I've gotten word that a lot of people at this point are getting accounts at BitChute out of even just desperation. All right, but anyways, rap demise. We got this guy right here. Never heard of him. He's from out of San Antonio, though. San Antonio news. All right, so you're seeing police ID man killed in shooting at the Ram. Man, I see the comments coming in and stuff, man. We got General Shepard up in the building, at least, and stuff. We got three people total up in the building, setting records. We plan to expand, all right, in the near future. I know I gotta mention I'm much more lazier than I even expected, or it's hard for me to do the things that I've been doing. We're gonna go into technicals maybe at a different time. We're talking about this guy right here, MG Vaughn. He recently got shot up at the Ram. Now the thing is, I like to tell people who are from out of town who want to come to San Antonio. Everybody comes to San Antonio and they go downtown and they go to the Riverwalk, and it's like, yeah, I get it. And whatever, you're gonna spend a lot of money, but that's all right. I mean, it's kind of nice, I guess, romantic, I guess. But I would tell them to actually, if you want to just go where it's really super nice at, just go like to La Cantera, just go to the Rim, instead of check out the mall and check out all this stuff, man. It's all glamorous. I like it. It's where highfalutin people go to. I swear, man, they spend all sort of money up in San Antonio, and just all around in that area. And it's still stuff will pop off there, obviously, and that's what happened this time. This guy, he got shot up, and he was actually in his Porsche, his white Porsche. All right, he's from San Antonio. I never heard of him. He was over at the Rim. He got shot up. I know nothing about it really because I never heard of him. And I'm still trying to gather a little bit of information, but I got a little preliminary information. And he got shot up in a Porsche, and actually, I think his son was with him. His son being 8 years old. The son was with them, and to the credit of the people shooting up this guy, they actually did not shoot up the 8-year-old at the same time. All right, I don't know if that's a testament to San Antonio. I don't know, but I'm sure we'll take what we can get. All right, he got shot up in his Porsche. I never heard of him, but I went ahead and I went on YouTube and I seen him. Let's see how nimble my fingers can be. We go on YouTube right now. Type in MJ Vaughn. his most recent song was called Apparently, and we're not going to play it due to, probably copyright strikes all over me. But he did have a song, and I actually checked out a couple of his songs. His latest song is called Apparently, and that's him right there. And actually, you can see him right here in the thumbnail. He's sitting in that white Porsche that he's about to get killed up in. All right, yeah, that is the white Porsche. And I can imagine, for what it's worth, it's none of my business, but he did not own that white Porsche. All right, he was leasing that white Porsche. For whatever it's worth, it doesn't really matter to me if you, whatever you like to do. I'm just saying, I never heard of him. Anyways, up in the comments, bad news: Biden goes to Texas. Good news is that Ted Kennedy is driving. That's not good. All right, it's politically incorrect, General Shepard. Don't make me have to ban you because I don't even know how to ban people, and I got to figure that out. Anyways, he says, I'm Bart Fine, and I'm on BitChute. Yeah, Bart Fine is on BitChute, and I've been seeing him on BitChute. I gotta admit, the transition's been a little bit hard for me. And I'm sure it's been a little bit hard for everybody, man. Like, you get used to the YouTube thing after years and years. You get used to it, and BitChute's a little bit different. It takes some getting used to. I can tell you that. It's not exactly... It doesn't, I don't know. They could work on it, but I'm sure that they will work on it. It says, please watch my video, fund me to get stung by executioner wasp, laugh out loud. What? Please watch my video, fund me. What? Truth is not an insulate. What? Oh man, General Shepard is getting really deep. I'm not even sure. I don't even know if we can go this deep. But if you get some time, I want to say that he said go to his channel, right, and then see fund me to get stung by executioner wasp. I don't know what that is, but it sounds sensational. Please watch. Oh, Are you saying to do it right now on the live broadcast? Fund me to get stung by. I wonder how easy that's going to be to find. Oh, truth is not an insult. Oh, yeah, probably, man, but you're still getting too deep. Are you telling us to go and see a video right now that's entitled Fund Me to Get Stung by... Is that how we find it? How do we find it? To get... I'm sure I could just... Oh, man, that's the thing. There's a lot of General Shepherds. We're going to be all spinning our wheels. Here, that's the thing. Okay, we're going to get to it. Remind me, and we're going to get to that. All right, but I want to talk about these rap deaths because it's exponential, right? I don't want to get too far away from the subject until we kind of finish it off as far as rap deaths. We got this guy. He got shot up. He's from San Antonio. Never heard of him. They're a dime a dozen. It's unfortunate. They're getting money. They're definitely getting more money than me. That's more respectable, right? But still, I don't know who these people are, and they get shot up, and that's just their lifestyle. Now, there's also... Here, I'll show you. We're already on YouTube, so these people, I'm just beginning to even know their names. But mind you, some of these people are making mad money. All right, you might have heard of this guy right here. And you might not have. You might have never heard of him before, but his name's Juice WRLD. And a lot of people are referring to him as like some legend in the game. I never heard of him. But yet still a legend in the game. They're hyping him up. I swear, like he's getting millions of views right now. Millions of views. All right, this guy, Juice WRLD. Now, he's of a different kind of thing, but it's the same thing. It's all destructive nature, and it's embedded in not only hip hop, but like lots of different places in which, he does a lot of drugs. A lot of these kids out here have been born and bred in not only computers, the digital age, but drugs, hella drugs. Some of them, not all of them. There's a lot of them who can't have any drugs, man. But some of them are having all the drugs, dude, like crazy amount of drugs. And some of them, the very slimmest of minorities of them, actually make really good money. And I'm talking about crazy money, like private jet money, like a lot of crazy money. Some of them do. And one of them will be this Juice WRLD guy who I've never heard of. All right, but he was living that life, as you can understand, with all the drugs and this and that, and the mumble rap and this and that, or whatever he's doing, autotunes and stuff like that. You heard of it. He died, I guess. He died on some of those drugs, some of those wild and crazy drugs, man. And here's Jesse Lee Peterson was talking about it. Everybody was talking about it. Juice WRLD. All right, he died from those drugs. It's destructive. But I wanted to draw everybody's attention real quick to a different kind of thing, probably that you probably wouldn't find anywhere else. I mean, I found it somewhere else, but it's very unlikely that you would find it. Here's another, it's not a rap death, but as you can see, it does involve violence, and I don't believe that you're going to see this one coming, all right? I think you're going to find this one to be a little bit from left field, but
Now at 5:30, we're hearing from the very
well,
concerned mother of a man who was injured in a highway shooting today. Her son and 2 others were hit by gunfire from another car.
FHP troopers having to shut down I-95 as they attended to those victims. Local 10's Christina Vasquez is live with more on this. Christina.
Yes, and FHP say the shooting victims all expected to be okay, that they were here at the office at the Gentlemen's Club prior to the shooting. And that shooting scene, it's just over the bridge here on the on-ramp of I-95 North. That's less than a mile away.
Say you don't know. He was just riding, listening to his music, and then all of a sudden he hear the gunshots going.
Teresa Harris, stunned to hear someone fired shots at her son, Justin.
Justin got shot in the arm.
Seen here being treated for a gunshot wound to the arm. Florida Highway Patrol says as Justin was driving onto the I-95 entrance ramp at Miami Gardens Drive early this morning, another driver, possibly in a white Chevy sedan, rolled up alongside him. Someone from that car firing several shots, hurting Justin, another man in the car,
Give me a Band-Aid and let's go home.
and Saucy Santana.
Celebrity.
Wearing what appears to be a black sports bra, red tights, and the performer's signature trim beard and long eyelashes.
I'm a rapper, like I'm a celebrity.
The music artist was visibly distraught,
These people trying to kill me.
at times in tears. But when Saucy got feisty,
I got shot. I'm the artist. I'm the celebrity. Get in the truck. He got shot. Get in the truck. Let's go.
in order to treat a gunshot wound to the arm.
A lot of time in the entertainment world, people envy someone that's trying to come up to make an honest living.
Teresa is glad everyone is okay, now hoping investigators find the people responsible for a terrifying end to her son's fun evening out with friends.
These guys really need to be taken off the street.
all right, I bet y'all didn't see that coming, all right? But, I mean, it's right down our alleyway. Obviously, we've been going that direction. And it's wild. Of course, this is another example of people, none of them are really wanting to fess up to any sort of responsibility in the lead up to this, whatever violence that popped off in that regard. But the thing is, that reminded me of something else. Let me check the comments real quick, but I gotta let y'all know. It reminded me of something else. And all the GS channels are yours, man. You got like 3 different, I know I'm subscribed to 3 different GS channels, and they all got the same icon. And I figured one of them was coming on the other day saying his name was JoJo. All right, so I mean, you might be JoJo too, but yeah, like it's untold amount of General Shepherds, I guess. And okay, so you want us to go see the video? I think we might say that a little bit, get people's suspense built up. That sounds like a thing that you end on anyways. It's like, oh man, check out this is crazy. Do you get stung by a wasp? Or tell me what is that? Is it a video just talking about that you're gonna get stung by a wasp if they give you enough GoFundMe? Like, how does that work? Because I wouldn't hate on that. I mean, the world is full of internet challenges and stuff like that. I guess if people want to pay to get, I'm not sure what's going on here, but I want to get to the bottom of it, and we are gonna see if we can find that video. But just to finish out this particular idea, it did remind me of something, you guys. All right, and it's really kind of serious. Let's see if we know what we're doing. It's really kind of serious because the news does not bring this up. And here's the thing. The news, if you will, that's on TV, yeah, it's dastardly. Yeah, it's nefarious. But the people who watch it, you couldn't really convince them of that, all right? It's not going to happen. But at the same time, we could clearly see certain possibilities taking place in which the news is kind of drumming stuff up and it's kind of feeding, I guess you would say, ignorance into the community and negligence, right? So with that being said, I believe that I bookmarked a particular, I don't know if you could say it was an article or if it was some sort of publication, all right? And it was talking about transgender people killed. Now, in the previous story, we were seeing that we didn't know it was a dude. It was like one of those lady dudes. And the thing is, I gotta give it to it's one of those new age lady dudes that's got a beard. You know what I'm saying? So it's real creepy and weird, but at the same time, there is no mistake. You are a dude because you got the beard. And so it's like, in a sense, I give people respect for doing that. All right? In a sense. And I say that for a reason. All right, because okay, let's go to this. Let's go to this article. It says transgender people killed in 2019. Now I don't know about y'all, but I've been seeing this in different. It's been popping up. Oh, transgenders are a victim of all sort of violence, right? The idea is that people hate transgenders, and they'll seek them out and they'll hunt them down for sport and stuff. Like all on the fringes of society, there's people hunting down transgenders. And I don't know if you've heard of this out there before, but I know that it's being said. It's being said a lot. All right. So some people out there hearing it and they're thinking that it's real, that it really happens. Now, what I got to explain is the transgenders really are dying. All right. That's not fake news. It is real news. They really are dying. And you could check it up. You can see all the backstories on things of this nature. Like, it's really easy to fact check these things. But okay, I went to this here publication, and we're going to run through it real quick, just about as quick as we can. But I'm going to establish a point, and that the news is costing people lives by withholding the truth. And it's just one example, but it's major, dude. It's really sinister how they're doing it. All right, so AJC says, remember this. It says, remember the 22 transgender people killed in 2019. All right, so they're going to give us a list. We go down, they're going to be talking about it, and they're going to be like, dude, it's anti-transgender violence and stuff's taking over. People need to learn how to, accept us and be tolerant of us because all these people are trying to kill us, and that's all we want. We just want to live our lives without getting hunted down in the streets and stuff like that for sport. Like, this is what they're implying. And this is what they've been implying every time they bring it up. Like, on the news, I've seen it a lot. And on the news, they'll be like, oh, man, this senseless killing. We don't know who would do this. This is a sweet person, and they could have never had this coming to them. And what the heck? This is just random and senseless. All right? And so on this channel, I don't personally advocate for violence at all. I mean, there's in defense, and that is what it is. But I don't advocate for violence, right? So that being said, okay, there's a reason why these transgenders are getting killed, all right? And I'd rather they didn't get killed. And I seek to have them not getting killed. I might disagree with what they're doing, but I love them, all right? I love all these transgenders, and don't get me mistaken, all right? So I'm not hating the transgenders. I've been saying, okay, there's a reason why these transgenders are getting killed, all right? And y'all are withholding information, and it's costing people their lives. So real quick, my theory was, because I've seen it before, all right? I spent time in a little town called Big Spring, right? And I'm not going to get into it, but, there's only certain bars. It's a little town, and at a certain bar, I've seen certain things going on. I didn't spend too much time in the bar, all right? But I did see an example of one of these dudes who's a lady. He's now a lady, right? And he goes and he hangs out at the bar, and he looks for drunken stragglers, dude. You can imagine how nefarious it gets from there, right? How many times he wins, how many times he loses at the little game that he's playing, right? But I'm already familiar with this, all right? That might sound awkward. It is. All right. But I've already seen this, so I know what it is. Okay, that being said, you're going to notice something, and you're going to notice it right away, and you're going to keep noticing it. Let's go through the names of the transgenders that been killed in the year 2019. All right, Dana Martin, 31, a black transgender woman, was fatally shot in Montgomery, Alabama, January the 6th, all right at the crack at the beginning of the year. Jaseline Ware, 34, a black transgender woman, was found dead in her Memphis apartment in March. Her death is being investigated as homicide. All right, let's see. Ashanti Carmen, 27, a black transgender woman, Was fatally shot in Prince George's County, Maryland. Okay, all right, black transgender woman. That's 3 of them. And, you know, I mean, that might be the majority of them, right? So, I mean, 3 of them. Oh, actually, 4 of them. Claire Legato, 21, a black transgender woman, was fatally shot in Cleveland on April 15th. All right. Let's see, Malaysia Booker, 23, a black transgender woman. Do you see a pattern? Do you see a pattern of brewing? Yeah, I think you're going to continue to see it. Malaysia Booker, 23, black transgender woman, fatally shot Dallas, May 18th. Michelle Tamika Washington, 40, a black transgender woman, was fatally shot in Philadelphia. Paris Cameron, 20, a black transgender woman. All right, before we go on, just to kill the suspense, all right, we're gonna read them all out because they deserve to be read. At least their names. They're all black transgender women. Every last one of them, except for one. All right, and when we get there, I'll let you know. But every one of them are black transgender women. Just so that just so that you know as we go on. Chinal Lindsay, 26, black transgender woman, found dead, White Rock Lake. Chanel Skurlock, 23, black transgender woman. Zoe Spears, 23, black transgender woman. Brooklyn Lindsay, 32, black transgender woman. Denali Berries, Stuckey, 29, black transgender woman. Tracy Single, 22, black transgender woman. Bubba Walker, you wouldn't figure, but that's the name of a black transgender woman at the age of 55. Kiki Fantroy, 21, a black transgender woman. See, Jordan Kofor, that was interesting. I actually looked that person up. You know, it's so interesting. And I know it's a coincidence, right? But she's one of the few people who actually, they don't say what's the ethnicity. Like I said, I did research. Every last one of them is a black transgender woman. All right, except for this one. Jordan Kofor, 22. I don't know why it wasn't mentioned, but it just so happened that Jordan Kofor was a white transgender man, right? I don't know if that's racism, but it could be. It could be. Pebbles Dime Doe, 24, black transgender woman. Bailey Reeves, 17, a black transgender teen. B. Love Slater was killed in Clewiston, Florida. It doesn't say, but trust me, I looked it up. Black and a transgender woman. Jamachio Jamar Berryman, a black gender non-conforming person. I looked that one up too as well. That is a black transgender woman. Italy Marlowe, 29, a black transgender woman. Brianna BB Hill, 30, was fatally shot in Kansas. That was a black transgender woman. And they were all like, okay, so you see the pattern. It's obvious to see. It's easy to see, right? And they keep covering them. And they're making a big deal of it. But here's the thing. If they were honest with people, there probably is exceptions. The rule is that this person probably went ahead and did something very similar to what I was talking about happened in Big Spring, all right? Hanging around at the bar, trying to grab these stragglers. Those stragglers are drunken. They don't exactly know what they're doing. We don't advocate for violence, but this is exactly what happens. 96% of the time, that is what's happening. So you can imagine if the news said, hey, look, we have a rash of people out there and they're hiding their gender identity, right? They're getting drunken men to do all sort of weird things. Those drunken men are resorting to violence because that's what they know, and straight up and down killing these people. And so to save y'all's lives, go ahead and don't do this. Stop doing this. Stop doing it systematically and rampantly. Yeah, you're doing it all over the place, and especially in certain places like Atlanta, but everywhere and stuff, man. And so you're seeing it pop up everywhere. And you could save these transgender people's lives, but you're not going to do it, all right? I just wanted to get that out of the way now. Before we dive into some other stuff, all right, while we got some time, I want to check this out. If we go to General Sheffer's channel, he has a challenge, all right? And we've been talking about it. Something about stung by an executioner wasp, all right? I'm not sure what that is, but I imagine it would be pretty dang painful. All right, so without further ado, let's see if we can get to it. I don't know exactly how we'd get to it. Is it a recent upload on YouTube? Would it be in my subscriptions? And that picture is like the worst picture. Like, dude, why would they put that as the thumbnail for Saucy Santana? That's disrespectful. Excuse me. We did a little research on Saucy Santana, all right? And that's a new age for you, man. Is anything goes, all right? So, General Shepherd, if we go to subscriptions, right, and we look you up, or maybe we just type in General Shepherd and Executioner Wasp, shouldn't that do it? You guys, how many things say General Shepherd in this world and Executioner Wasp? You know, it couldn't be that many. So when you think about YouTube and the algorithms, it should bring it right up, shouldn't it? Or it should be like one of a handful, if that, videos that say Executioner Wasp, General Shepherd. All right, we're going to test out YouTube's legitimacy right now. We're going to see if we can stay on YouTube. All right, All right, it came right up. See, their algorithms still work. YouTube is still out for the benefit of everybody, you guys. Executioner Wasp stings me soon. Help me get stung by Executioner Wasp. All right, so they're all about the same thing. Okay, all right, we're gonna check it out, and we're gonna see how much. I don't know how to help someone do this, but we're gonna see if we can help real quick.
Hey y'all, this is Bart Fine. Anyway, I'd like to introduce to y'all, the Executioner Wasp Challenge. I'm willing to take multiple stings from this bad boy. All I need is the funding. I don't know if there's too many people out doing this, but if I can get the funds for a plane ticket to Costa Rica, I will let this fucker sting me. At least twice. It'll be funny as hell. But I need money for some cocaine to rub on the wound and some weed and a plane ticket. So all I need is one large donation or a bunch of small ones. But this is serious, folks. I'm willing to do it if anybody's willing to pay, but we'll see.
All right. Oh, man. That is interesting. All right. And it seems pretty reasonable, actually, when you think about it. He's not asking for all sort of things. It seems pretty reasonable as far as Costa Rica and the cocaine is concerned. And maybe a little bit of reefer, you know what I'm saying, to mellow things out. Seems pretty reasonable. However, I do have to call out, I mean, the thing is, yeah, you claim that you're going to get stung by an executioner wasp. But, I mean, the whole time you just had a picture of Hillary Clinton on the video. Right? Why are we staring at a picture of Hillary Clinton the whole time? Right? Do you really have an executioner wasp? Or are you just kind of like poking fun at Hillary Clinton because she looks kind of like an executioner wasp? I don't know about these internet scams, y'all. All right, but I am kind of excited. Thing is, I know that I just came across a little bit of money myself and stuff, so I might have to dip into that little bowl and stuff and make sure that General Shepherd either gets stung by an executioner wasp or indeed meets Hillary Clinton. If so, I would love to see that on video. All right, I think heads would explode. I'm sure. I think Hillary Clinton would know the meaning of love at first sight if she ever did come across General Shepherd out there. All right, Mr. Bartfine. I'm not sure what, okay, let's say we were talking about violence, right? We were talking about violence against people, and that's bad, and how we could stop it if people just spread awareness. Nobody's going to do that. They're going to let the transgenders of the same variety, it's always the same demographic, getting shot up. They're going to let them get shot up because they don't care nothing about their lives. They're going to say, oh, it's senseless. We got a senseless violence on our hands. All right, speaking of senseless violence, speaking of that, I guess what we want to jump into right now, while y'all give me some suggestions. That was cool, man. If y'all have another video and stuff in mind or whatever, yeah, let's do it. We're going to do it, all right? But in the meantime, let me see if I can look up this. We're not going to watch the whole video, but I want to, because I haven't seen it yet, all right? I want to see what it says, and I think it has something to do with New Jersey. If I'm not mistaken, Joseph Cowan just put out a video, and it has something to do with New Jersey. As you might recall, they're not gonna bring it up. Maybe, oh, there it is. No, that was before. I could have sworn it was something about New Jersey. We wanted to talk about that real quick. I know I had seen stuff. Let me see if it's in my broadcast playlist. Bloop, bloop, bloop. I got some stuff lined up in the broadcast playlist. Not that one, though. That's crazy. All right. New Jersey. I want to touch base with y'all on that. Apparently, there was a shooting or something. And I was hearing some people talking about that. I was actually just watching the Nick Fuentes live stream not too long before. We're not going to play that.
It's like weird kind of cheese. And I'm like, hey, yeah, I just...
He's still going live, all right. But the thing is, I was listening to that. I was listening to other people. From what I understand, there was a shooting in New Jersey, and of course, there's shootings all over the place now, right? Just as everybody expected, right? So right on time, there's shootings all over the place. Now, in that particular situation, I got to imagine and stress that all these situations are individuals and worth regarding as individual incidents. And there's some sort of shooting, and come to find out, it was apparently, allegedly, some black Hebrew Israelites, if y'all heard of that. I've been telling people about the black Hebrew Israelites for a long time, and those been on the internet long enough have come across the black Hebrew Israelites. We don't know how connected. This is all alleged anyways, like as far as their connections, but that's what's being alleged. And that's kind of interesting. That's going to get swept under the rug, and that's kind of interesting. We're noticing a pattern with all these shootings and stuff like that. Most of them get swept under the rug, and some of them do not. They get put on blast all over the place, and we know why that is. All right? And I wanted to see some of the video by Joseph Callan. Let me see if we go to this deal. And subscriptions. I don't know if y'all are familiar out there with the different navigational things. I've learned a thing or two as far as finding stuff that YouTube really doesn't want me to find. I say subscribe to certain people, and I know I can find them. See, like Joseph Callan. And I have a feeling, look, he does have a video. I knew that he did. All right, so I don't know if we're going to watch all of it, but we're definitely going to watch some of it, and I would encourage y'all. I'm going to leave a link below as typical to this video. If you haven't seen it yet, I haven't seen it yet either. But I promise, Joseph Callan really never lets you down. Ever. Ever. Alright, so with that being said, let's play some of this video.
I heard something about 191 Bergen. We were waiting for additional, but we didn't copy what it was. 191 Bergen. Supposedly the Jersey CPD got a man down at that location. And officers down? Yeah, can you try to find out? Alright. I'm gonna create a job. What badge am I speaking with? So our supervisor was in contact with The Rock, and they have it as a shooting, not an active shooter, so we're getting contradictory info. Actually, just give me a please. 12:45. Okay, there's a strong possibility that this incident is actually at two separate locations right now. As we get additional, I'll pass it on to you.
Sometimes it's hard to know what we're even looking at, you know what I'm saying? When we roll up on investigations, like there's little details and stuff. Right, that come up on the videos and people scrutinize, and I can't blame them for doing that. It's a good idea. That's what we're given, right? These videos, so we should scrutinize.
They shot the cops.
Is the ability to regen really that far-fetched for humans?
All right, so it looks like that cop got shot.
Okay, this is unconfirmed information at this point. Unconfirmed. The U-Haul truck may be involved bearing Arizona registration, Alpha Juliet 52333. Unconfirmed report, shots fired from that vehicle.
Huh. What is everybody talking about? See, I'm still not getting it.
We just thought that it was important to keep the public abreast of the information as we get it.
Snowing over there, y'all.
You know, at the time of the incident yesterday, it was difficult to understand intent, and there's still a lot of questions around that.
Everyone, I'm Maurice Dubois.
And I'm Christine Johnson. We begin with that Jersey City shootout and word from the mayor that there is reason to believe the location attacked was targeted.
But after reviewing the CCTV cameras on the Jersey City side, we do feel...
Hey, y'all, I'm going to play a little bit more, but the thing is, it's interesting. You know, it is very interesting, and Nick Fuentes brought this up, but like I said, allegedly black Hebrew Israelites, and the targeted thing that they were talking about is mostly it's Jewish, right? There was like a kosher deli actually involved, right? So Jewish. And that's the thing, you know, it's interesting to think about it. They say it would be anti-Semitic maybe. But meanwhile, the black Hebrew Israelites, they think they are the Jews. And that is the whole point. So I don't think it would be anti-Semitic necessarily. Meanwhile, anti-Semitic, that's just like a broad term for everything in the world. So anyways, I'll just play a little bit more of that, see if we can get some sort of wherewithal. I still don't know what's going on. It's snowing up in New York or New Jersey, dang.
Comfortable that it was a targeted attack on the Jewish kosher deli across the street here. We could see the van moving through Jersey City streets slowly. The perpetrator stopped in front of there, calmly opened the door with two long rifles, him and the other perpetrator, and began firing from the street into the facility. Let me just say that there were two officers on a walking post 1 block south, and when they heard the gunshots, they responded immediately. From what we can tell in the CCTV cameras, had they not responded and had they not been there in that location, more than likely more people would have died. The reason that those perpetrators seemed to be inside of that deli and not able to move potentially to the school or to inflict more harm was because the police responded immediately and returned fire. That's what we have up till now. And I'll turn it over to the Public Safety Director if he wants to add any additional information.
The only thing I would add is yesterday when we answered questions about the incident, as the mayor said, the incident was still developing and was still hot, and we didn't know exactly how it began, how our officers interacted. Having had an opportunity to go through the video over the night, we now know this did not begin with gunfire between police officers and the perpetrators and then moved to the store. It began with an attack on the civilians in the store. And then our officers, who were posted a block away, immediately responded to the sound of the gunfire heroically, placed themselves in the line of fire attempting to give the information, and both of them received gunshot wounds as a result. And within seconds, more Jersey City police officers responded to their calls, pulled them out of the line of fire, and continued to engage the gunmen, the two people carrying guns inside the store. So just agree with the mayor. Without that response immediately from those police officers, immediately and heroically, I believe the streets were filled with people and the schools surrounding were filled with people. With the amount of ammunition they had, we have to assume they would have continued attacking human beings if we hadn't been there. Before you start...
Y'all might have totally missed it. You know, shout out to the people up in the comment section. You might be abreast of this whole situation, or maybe just gathering it in, like myself. I don't know what the heck's going on, right? So supposedly, black Hebrew Israelites, they were all up in this area, maybe around the kosher deli, and they were attacking people, like with guns and stuff. And then the police came, you know, and I'm still trying to, I don't know how many people were actually killed. How many people were shot anyways? Like, all I've heard about thus far is the cops. I might have missed it. And I want to play it for another minute or so and stuff to see if it says. But I might have missed it. Who else got shot? Was it just the cops? I don't know what the heck's going on. It's snowing up in New Jersey. That's crazy.
Any questions about the investigation? Any use of force by a police officer in the state of New Jersey is investigated by the Attorney General's office and the local prosecutor. They have dedicated professionals that are investigating the entire incident now. We will not speak anything to the investigation because that's their purview, and they will leave no stone unturned finding out everything we need to know, and then you'll be updated by them. Can I handle one question at a time?
Two questions. One, is this being investigated as a hate crime?
Let me just say, we can't comment on the Attorney General's side of the investigation. We're not at liberty to disclose the names of any of the victims or the actors at this point. That's New Jersey law on how the investigation will proceed from here. What we did want to comment on was the CCTV cameras from the Jersey City side that we felt comfortable with commenting on, and we thought it was important for the public to be aware of that. We're going to be meeting with leadership in the Jewish community later today. We're in constant contact with the public school system providing mental health counseling from the city side, and I'm sure more information will come out later today.
But in terms of what you actually saw on that video, I mean, is there anything that stood out that made you think that this was targeted? What exactly are you seeing? Are you able to say?
On the video, they park the van, they exit the van with the rifle, with the long guns in their hand, and immediately begin firing toward the location that we lost 3 of our citizens in yesterday. So there were multiple other people on the street, so there were many other targets available to them that they bypassed to attack that place. So it was clearly that was their target, and they intended to harm people inside there.
All right, y'all, that all sounds reasonable. I think we're going to stop it right there just because, one, that's painfully boring. I understand that, trust me. It was hard to get through it myself. And considering the sensational nature, like what they should be talking about should be sensational and everything, it's incredible how boring that they make it. And also, I noticed that YouTube had dumped my viewership, man. I noticed that out there, and y'all might still be dumped. Makes me wonder if I'm even on the internet. We're going to continue pressing on as though I am on the internet and getting recorded right now. All right, because we don't have too much else. I mean, we have a couple, actually, the most interesting stuff we have saved for the last. All right, we're still getting abreast. Shout out to the people coming back up in the building. We're still getting abreast of this whole New Jersey situation and stuff like that. I don't know how much attention we're going to even be able to pay to it just because they are flying off like hotcakes now with the violence, all right? But that being said, I definitely draw your attention just because it's worth a reminder, right? Because it is very forgettable. But I do want to draw everybody's attention back to Adam Waffen. Seems like something that I made up, I know. All right, but mind you, okay, let's assume that whole Black Hebrew Israelite thing, let's assume that that's accurate. And I mean, just for the fun of it, let's assume that it all happened and everybody got killed or shot up. And that's not good. I'm not saying for fun, because that'd actually be a really bad thing, terrible thing. I think we'd all agree about it. Let's assume it did happen. That's kind of like politically motivated, religiously motivated in a certain kind of way. The same kind of way that they keep talking about this group, Adam Waffen, that don't exist. Man, I swear. I think that I bookmark things, but then I don't. All right. So we're just typing Adam Waffen, all right, so that you know that I'm not making it up. And so that you see, how it's spelled. It's spelled in a goofy way. All right. It's spelled like in German and stuff. And supposedly it's a group of people who came up out of America, all right? And literally no members. Everybody admits that there's no members. That's how you spell it. Adam Waffen. It's a serious group, right? It's completely, entirely made up. And it wouldn't even be worth mentioning, Adam Waffen Division. And look, dude, you can find it on Wikipedia. There's all sort of, you got the leader right here, James Mason. Oh, he's the leader, right? But we're about to hear from James Mason. I think we might have covered him the other day, but we're going to hear from him again. So I want to drive it home. Adam Waffen. I don't know if it's the only group, but you're going to hear Adam Waffen's name again, and they're going to be behind something crazy, dastardly. And everybody's going to be like, this group, Adam Waffen, never heard of them before. And then they're going to look back and see these publications, be like, oh, this is a well-documented terrorist group, white supremacy. the whole nine. All right, they definitely got this in their back pocket, and they're thinking that we're not going to notice. But the leader is James Mason. We're about to hear from him. The founder, Brandon Russell, he's been in jail, and I've talked about his story. We're going to talk about his story in great detail. Again, probably we've done it before, and it's an amazing story. As far as the story of Brandon Russell, if you wanted to hear a phenomenally amazing story, and you want to see how the media is going to slant it to make sure that anybody that they want is now officially a white supremacist and a part of whatever silly name white supremacist group that they make up in their head called Adamoff Division. Man, but it doesn't matter where you go. Like on the internet, they'll admit they don't have any members. They like claim that supposedly there's 100, less than 100 members in America. Right? That means nothing at all. When you talk about these big groups that everybody's heard of, and these gangs and stuff, and these terrorist organizations, they're filled up with hundreds, if not thousands, of recruits across a different country, all right? It's actually formidable. The Adamoff Division, if it wasn't made up, and it is, very elaborately, and they got all these things too, like all these things, half of them at least are going to be made by the government, dude, in order to entrap people, and that is the whole point. All right, so they got this. The leader's James Mason. I hear his name a lot because I've done research on this Adamoff Division. There's different separate incidents that you can find on the internet that if you were, dodo-brained out there on the internet, you would see them and be like, oh, Adamoff is tied to all sort of murders and this and that. No, they're not. You just have to look into it, and you're going to see a pattern and a trend of brewing, right? In reference to Adamoff, and no one's legitimately in Adamoff, and it is a made-up group. All right. But that being said, I did want to take another look back at and because here's the thing, it's a made-up group, and we already know it, and it's meant to like frame up some person along down the line, whoever's got white skin, who they can, who's like an orphan or something like that, who nobody's going to speak up for. He's going to be tied to Adamoff for sure, definitely. All right, so that being said, it is a made-up group. Let's go listen again to the made-up leader of the group. I'm pretty sure I got that in the playlist. This guy right here, his name's James Woods. If you never heard of him, I guess he's a world-renowned writer of white supremacy, and he's the leader and the inspiration for. He's the advisor, if you will, to the neo-Nazi group Adamoff. And he speaks out on King 5, and you're going to see just how preposterous this is. Right quick.
Well, there's a question that many of you have asked since the King 5 investigators first reported on a neo-Nazi group with roots right here in Washington state. How are its young members so full of hate?
Tonight, we have one answer to that question. He's the man who is the guiding hand behind the Adamoff Division, as Chris Ingalls is here in studio to show us. Chris.
Hello, Mark Joyce. The FBI has noted a couple of things about the Adamoff Division. Its members are young and they are prepared for violence. They're training for it right here in Washington and following the lead of 3 men, including one you've probably never heard of. Adolf Hitler, dead. Mass murderer Charles Manson, dead. James Mason, alive.
What are you doing? Are you stalking me?
All right, if we're going to talk about hit pieces, they just said, Adolf Hitler, he's gone. Charles Manson, he's gone. But the next one down the line, what was his name? James Woods. Oh, wait, no, not James Woods. James Mason, he might as well be the next in succession. All right? What's his name? James Mason. Who you never heard of, I promise. I never heard of him either. And, it's interesting, they say in the title that James Mason, the advisor to neo-Nazi group Adamoff, speaks out. That's what the title of the video is. And then they proceed in showing you quite clearly that James Mason is an old man who's just trying to get somewhere. He's not speaking out. You're accosting him in the parking lot. All right, you're harassing him at this point, and they're just going to show you quite clearly that they're harassing him. And no, he's not speaking out. He's going to the shopping center.
James Mason, alive.
What are you doing? Are you stalking me?
And residing in Denver, Colorado.
You're a pretty prominent figure within the white supremacist movement, and I want to ask you some questions. I mean, the one question I do want to ask you is, do you feel any responsibility for the young people that have turned violent?
None at all.
You don't?
No.
That's reporter Gerard.
Can you imagine that question being asked to you in the parking lot? Anybody in the world? If some random guy from the media came and he said, hey, do you hold any responsibility for all these young people out here wilding out with all sort of violence on each other? Are you responsible for this? And then and James Mason, who's an old man walking through the shopping center, says, no, I don't feel responsible for this. What are you talking about? He's some random strange man.
Hihola from our sister station KUSA, outing perhaps America's most prominent living Nazi.
A lot of people take your words and they're acting violent based on your words.
If they were acting on my words, they wouldn't be doing the things they're doing.
All right.
Throwing their lives away.
See that? I mean, they're showing you clips and they're trying to incriminate this guy. He said, oh, these young people are getting violent. They're acting upon your words. You wrote some book or something a long time ago. And then James Mason clearly explains, he said, you know, if they were acting on my words, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing at all. And so basically he's refuting it in some sense. You could say, oh, it's ambiguous. Oh, there's dog whistles. Yeah, I doubt it. I mean, we're only hearing 5-second sound clips and you know how it is. The news is out here to incriminate you. It doesn't matter if you're an old man and you wrote some book that's a little bit controversial a long time ago. It doesn't matter if you're an old poor man and you're just walking through a shopping center. They're going to accost you and they're going to call you the foremost white supremacist Nazi ever since Hitler. All right, and they're going to accost you in the parking lot, and they're going to blame you for violence by some little kids that they're going to blame you for, and then you're going to say, no, I had nothing to do with it, and they're going to be like, you're a white Nazi supremacist. All right, we're going to put it in the news.
A new generation of neo-Nazis, seen here training in Skagit County in Washington State, have been radicalized by Mason's writings and podcasts. The Atomwaffen Division is preparing for Mason's prophesized race war, and Mason admits there are limits to his claim of nonviolence.
I say, don't do it. But if you're going to do it, for God's sake, do it right.
They took a sound clip that said, I say don't do it, but if you're going to do it, for God's sake, do it right. That's the sound clip. There's no context to it. You don't see what he asked him. And of course it is. It's a trick. All right? Plain and simple. And it's so easy to see. It doesn't matter. I don't know anything about James Mason, and that is the problem. Is I don't even know this guy. And you're trying to claim that he's brewing up some wild. It's like, I don't know this guy. Nobody knows this guy. Nobody's ever heard of Atomwaffen Division. All right? And then y'all going to keep harassing him. And it's just going to continue for a little while longer. Let me see. They're going to call him out and say, hey, you're the leader of Atomwaffen Division? And he says, no, I'm an old man.
In Mason's view, may have been what the 25-year-old leader of Washington's Atomwaffen cell was preparing for. In September, authorities seized a dozen firearms, including untraceable homemade AR-15s from the Arlington home of Caleb Cole.
You hear all this talk about guns. Got to take away the guns. Guns are not the issue. All right?
What's the issue?
The society is changing and going insane.
Okay.
And the reason for it...
All right, just stop him right there. Does anybody in and around this channel disagree with James Mason that guns are not the issue and that indeed society is going insane? Right? So it almost seemed like James Mason, this person we never heard before, we don't know what he stands for, but it sounds like he's saying everything that we're saying. And they're incriminating it on the internet.
Is what they like to call diversity. I call it alienation.
Going to war against the society in which they live may be why Cole was rearmed barely a month after Washington authorities seized his firearms. Here are the 4 rifles and nearly 2,000 rounds of ammo that were pulled from the trunk of a car Cole was driving through Post, Texas earlier this month. Investigators say his passenger, Aiden Bruce Umbaugh, a 23-year-old Atomwaffen member from Olympia, copped to the guns and is being prosecuted by the feds. Cole's legal fate, under an order that he not possess weapons, is still being decided by authorities.
These are all people who either never heard of Atomwaffen Division or might have found Atomwaffen Division in a chat room, a secret troll chat room, and maybe came in and said some jokes at the very most. I promise you, that's all that happened. And that's all that needs to happen. We're in
Washington.
Atomwaffen Division
Are you still
now.
an active member of Atomwaffen?
I've never been a member of Atomwaffen.
But online photos show Mason.
He said, are you still a member of Atomwaffen? He said, I've never been a member of Atomwaffen. All right. And then they got these pictures, and yeah, it's supposed to look nefarious, but it's like, all right, where are these pictures coming from? Are they doctored? Who's to say? Of course, this is fake news. All right, but even still, what would you be out there doing that? Why would you have masks on your face and stuff? None of this makes sense. If you were in a white supremacist thing, you figure, hey, let's take over, let's be dominant or something, and it doesn't make any sense. You have a handful of people hanging around in masks, getting absolutely nothing done. Everybody refutes the name of Atomwaffen. Everybody who you talk to, there's nobody in the world who's ever came out and said, yeah, I am in Atomwaffen, except for trolls on the internet. Isn't that very interesting? Right? So violence is going to pop off. There's been a lot of violence. The news is going to drum it up and sensationalize it. We've been seeing that. That's going to be a trend. There's no getting around that necessarily. I got to assure you, just because of the youth, for example, they are off on drugs. I'm talking more pharmaceutical than anything else. Gone. They're like just out of there. And if they ever did get a shortage of those particular, whatever, pharmaceuticals, antidepressants and stuff like that, God bless them. I know people out there on this and that, good people. I'm just here to say that the youth, they wouldn't be able to take it. Say, like, if for whatever reason there was a shortage, say, in these drugs, for example, that would be a devastating reality to wake up to. All right, for them, they would just wild out. They would just be all over the place. If you could even imagine that sort of nightmare. All right. So there is going to be like the trend up in, say, violence and stuff like that. We don't even have time. We don't even have time to like individually name every time that the news wants to talk about this sort of sensational shooting. Meanwhile, there's all sort of shootings inside like very ghetto places, urban communities and stuff like that. There's different shootings and like, for example, with transgenders, we just solved the problem right here on this broadcast. We could save all sort of lives, but they're going to continue to get shot down in 2020 and probably more so. All right. Just judging by the trends. Okay. So with that being said, we're going to not wind it down, but a little bit, we're going to start to cool it down a little bit. All right, we got some more important things to talk about. And feel free, like, if there's more videos, little videos that we could watch before we get on out of here, I feel like we should. But I do want to mention some updates. All right, I'm not sure which one to start on first. I guess I'll go ahead and talk about Colorado. All right, let's do the Colorado thing. We're talking about a daycare. Now, this is something that not a lot of people might have mentioned it, but a lot of people aren't going to stick with it, and I can't blame them just because it's been kind of very swept under the rug, and it is a very fast news cycle. So I can see why a lot of people haven't stuck to this, but I imagine there's certain people, and we're a little bit fixated on it. And I'm pretty sure I made a dang bookmark right here. We got right here, I want to say this is one of the latest updates on Colorado. You might remember Carla Faith. She's a mysterious lady. We talk about her a lot. We're not going to forget about Carla Faith or anything that's happened around Carla Faith. And we're going to see how it gets swept under the rug. And we're going to see how all these details, oh yeah, we don't need to know about the details. It's going to get swept under the rug and we're supposed to forget about it. We're not going to forget about it. All right. In particular, this one. We've had a lot of success with it. And then there's a lot of stuff that y'all are just trying to hide. For whatever reason, I couldn't imagine, but this is a sense. If you just say the sentence, dozens of little toddlers in a secret basement in Colorado. That's all you need to say. Parents file lawsuit claiming Colorado Springs daycare owner was negligent. And we're on the article. I read it. Like I said, it's kind of recent. One of the recent updates, although they're not talking about it very much. Just to read a little bit, it says parents of the 19 children who attended A shuttered Colorado Springs daycare care filed a lawsuit Thursday alleging negligence. All right, and we're gonna talk about this, just how nefarious this is, just how weird and wild this can wind up being. The 11-page complaint claims the owner of Play Mountain Place, Carla Marie Faith, was negligent while providing care for their children, resulting in injuries and behavioral issues. Now, I can only imagine, in reference to the dozens of little toddlers that were kept in a secret basement day after day for probably months on end. All right, but it's resulting in injuries, behavioral issues. This is something that went unnoticed, I guess, until they got found out by the police. All this went unnoticed or something. Somebody was giving their babies over to strangers and then getting back damaged babies and just overlooking it, pretty much. All right, so the unlicensed daycare at 838 E. Williamette Avenue was shut down last month after authorities conducting a welfare check found that's right, false wall, leading to a finished basement. All right, it was a complete, like, people came down there meant to have a basement, meant to make it a secret behind a false wall near face unlicensed, or is near her licensed facility, right? But it, however, was unlicensed. There they found 26 children, all under the age of 3 and 2 adults, right? Their identities had not been disclosed, but suffice it to say they were untrained, right? These adults. According to an inspection report from the Colorado Department of Human Services, the children appeared not to have a diaper change and a nap or a sufficient meal. Like, nothing, dude. They were getting these children back just totally ravaged back to the parents, and the parents were like, oh yeah, this is good. Hungry, tired, rashes all over my child. This is wonderful. This is a wonderful daycare facility. All right, so Colin McWilliam said he took his son, now 2.5 years old, to the emergency room twice for injuries he suffered while at Play Mountain Place. All right, we don't want to get too off on a tangent and go too wild, but it might make us think that, like, everybody needs to be prosecuted at this point. You had to take your child to the emergency room 2 times from this daycare facility. It's like, dude, could you imagine what kind of desperation? The Colorado is in the state of a fit of a desperation right now that you wouldn't believe as far as daycare facilities come. And I wouldn't even believe it except for these stories. You took your child from daycare, took it to the emergency room because of what happened at daycare, then took your child back to that daycare, and then had to take your child to the emergency room again. All right? And this was able to continue until the police, like, somehow finally got a complaint and wound up knocking on the door. And that's one of many different stories, I'm sure. That's one of dozens and dozens of stories, I'm sure. According to the inspection, the report from Colorado Department of Human Services, oh yeah, we already read that. Colin McWilliam, yeah, we read that. Once it was for a sprained elbow, dang, which resulted in his son having a cast for 4 weeks, dang. And a second time for stitches on his chin, dang, dude. Some people just blow that off. McWilliam recalled seeing a laceration on his son's chin and scrapes under the inside of his mouth. And scrapes under the inside of his mouth. Who's to say, dude? What came of that? Oh man, Faith told McWilliam and his wife that the boy was injured after taking a tumble off a stair. That should not happen. It sounded like an innocuous injury, nothing substantial, but certainly with what we know now, it raises questions. What kind of questions, y'all? See, that's what we're getting at. What kind of questions does it raise to y'all? We're trying to understand the extent of the injuries and what our kids have been exposed to, and it's kind of interesting, right? Because it's going to be hard to understand the extent of the injuries and the extent of what it is that y'all's children went through in a secret basement for months on end. Being able to operate a daycare in this manner seems completely unacceptable. I would agree. Mac Williams says several of the parents included in the lawsuit claim excessive hitting and tantrums by children were common while at Faith's daycare. So that's what they learned in the pit. Up in the fight club for toddlers, they learned basically punching, hitting, scraping, kicking, scratching. Like, that is what took place in this hellhole, all right? This nightmare. I think that might be the end of the article. But I saw other articles, and they were talking about lawsuits, all right? And I might not say it in this article, but they do have lawsuits. Parents are filing lawsuits for Carla Faith, a very mysterious lady. And what I gotta say is this: I've seen, what's being alleged in the lawsuits and everything. It's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of preposterous, right? And I want to finish on that note as far as with Colorado, kind of preposterous because how hard do you have to look at it? Like, I'm looking at it from this angle, and I clearly see kidnapping, and I'm talking about dozens of times. When you're taking someone's children, and you're saying, oh yeah, I'm taking them to this place, but you don't. You take them to a secret place, in a secret basement, in a house that's not even meant for daycares. That to me sounds like kidnapping. You might say, oh, that's kind of harsh. Yeah, it is kind of harsh. We're talking about a person who allegedly jumped over a fence just in order to not talk to authorities. And it's been skirting all around the place. It's a very mysterious lady. You can't even find a picture of her nowhere. That's who we're talking about. With a secret basement, I would say dozens of kidnappings, basically. You kidnap these children. Dozens of them. What's the penalty for that? What's the punishment for that? I wonder. But, however, she's just getting these civil lawsuits of like, oh, you were negligent. You were very negligent. I don't think she was negligent at all, what she was doing. All right? Nothing points to that she was negligent. Nothing does. Except for naivety. Maybe that points to it. And it grosses me out. It sickens me out, right? That's one of the most biggest news stories, I think, across the nation, actually. And I wonder how many people even know about it or have ever heard about it. Probably heard about it and forgot about it at this point. It's quite interesting. But one other topic that I want to talk about, and here's the thing. We might not talk about it too much. We're going to see. We're going to see how it plays out down the line. But one thing that I wanted to touch on before we get out of here, that's basically all the stuff that we wanted to talk about. So if y'all have any ideas that you want to share up in the comments section, I'll be sure to get to it before we get on out of here. All right. But I want to talk about Arabella Parker now. I think I made a bookmark. I'm going to see if I did. All right. I need to stay on top of it. Let's see. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Man, punches. Oh, man. We forgot to mention... the thing is, I made a video about it, and it is on my BitChute, and I am going to leave a link below. But we did talk about this, and I think we talked about this on this channel, and that's not good either. But this guy done beat the mess out of this lady right here in a gruesome fashion. Very gruesome fashion. And that happened in San Antonio. We kind of went past that. That was a little while ago that I was meaning to mention that. But we do have a video about it, and it is on my BitChute. That dude's name is Jacob Jackson from out here in San Antonio. I don't know if he's from San Antonio, but he beat the brakes off this lady in San Antonio. And that's definitely that incident is wild. It's very wild. He wound up carving his name into her head with a knife. Wild. And I might strike y'all as fake news. I doubt it here in San Antonio. It does sound wild, but I bet you it did happen. And we're going to cover it at a great extent. I think there's a lot of things to talk about in that particular situation. And I think very similar things can be said about Arabella Parker and her whole situation. Now, for those who know, obviously, Arabella Parker, she's up in the news. She was fighting, struggling. She's on life support for a long time after a terrible nightmare of an abuse case. And then she was taken off life support. She did live for a while, for maybe like a day and a half. And then she wound up succumbing to her injuries. A little girl, about 3 years old, right? As adorable as little children are at 3 years old, right? And I wanted to, I guess, have an update. I don't think this is what we were talking about. Let's see. It might be. It's kind of recent. I know the Daily Item... Let's see. Actually, I know that they have something that I wanted to read. I want to say this one is one. Aunt of fatal child abuse victim Arabella to attend homicide arraignments. I want to say this one was one of the recent ones. Yeah, 3 hours ago. So this is super breaking. And I wanted to cover this article, which I haven't read before, y'all. So we're going to be experiencing it together before we get out of here. Or at least part of it. I don't know how long the article is. But we're going to be gathering this information together. All right, getting the updates. And shout out to Daily Item, because Daily Item's really been holding it down on this story. All right, credit where credit is due. They've been holding it down like nobody else. Not even close. All right, we're about to read this article, which is, I guess, discussing Mandy Kegler, which would be the aunt of Arabella Parker. And I got to say, real briefly, when I did bring up Arabella Parker on a number of videos, maybe 2-3 videos, I noticed on my other channel that they got hundreds and hundreds of views, like 500 some odd views and stuff on some of them. All right, so people wanted to know. People came up on YouTube looking to find out something about Arabella Parker. Found hardly nothing. All right, except for my video and a number of other people's, like a handful of other people's videos. And so I got a lot of views on it because people actually do want to know. The news won't tell you, and the news doesn't keep up with it. But people really do want to know about this sort of situation. All right, so the Daily Item has been key and essential. They got this article, and then they also have an opinion article that I wanted to read before we get out of here, because I want to see someone's opinion on this sort of stuff. People have been very black and white. These are the charges. This is what was said. Daily Item's been covering it very, very well. But at the same time, I have an opinion on this matter, and it's not very black and white. It's not very by the book necessarily, but it brings up all sort of questions that I feel like we should be talking about. And so I want to hear other people's opinions on it. And so I am excited to see what's written in that other article, the one after this one. But let's get a little feel for this one first. All right, this is, like I said, the Daily Item. The headline is "On to Fatal Child Abuse Victim Arabella Parker to attend homicide arraignments on Thursday." So something to keep up with. Sunbury, Mandy Kegler, the aunt and legal guardian of 3-year-old fatal child abuse victim Arabella Parker, will attend the preliminary arraignments of accused killer Gerard Burgess and his girlfriend Samantha Del Camp. Before we go any further, I do want to establish, and I feel like I've done it before, is that they're going to put Gerard Burgess at the forefront of this incident. We're trying to figure out what exactly happened. That's what we want to know. We don't want to hear, oh, he says this and she says this. I don't care what y'all are saying. I want to know what happened for real. All right. So they put Gerard Burgess at the front. He's always been at the front. It's always been assumed, in large part, throughout the people who have heard about this, is that Gerard Burgess is the one who laid the beat down. Now, although I would agree both these people are probably guilty. I mean, they need to be found guilty, but chances are, yeah, they're both probably guilty to some extent or another. All right. And it almost might not seem consequential, but I think it is. And it established a major precedent in that we were looking for justice for Arabella Parker. It should all be about Arabella Parker at this point and justice for her. That being said, we should know what happened. And as this case goes on, it might take the course of a year or even a couple years probably. Well, as this case, I mean, that's just to give you a sign of how slow our judicial system is. As this case goes on, we're going to hear back and forth, the he said, she said, and stuff like this. And meanwhile, Gerard Burgess is going to be put on the forefront every time. It's always going to be his name and then Samantha's name. And I take offense to that. We're going to talk about that, as we carry on. Kegler's sister, Del Camp, and notice that everybody in the situation, yeah, they're all family and stuff like that. There's a definite extended family when it comes to Arabella Parker. A lot of them came out to my YouTube and left comments as far as that they're related to Arabella Parker. All right, extended family for sure. Don't nobody have the same last names. Take that for what you will, but that is a note that I'm pretty sure it's a trend. Del Camp, 24, Burgess, 19. All right, just to show you an age disparity, Burgess is actually younger by 5 years than Del Camp. Okay, both of Trevorton and accused of homicide. Arabella died after being on life support for a month. Kegler of Sunbury said on Wednesday that she was going to attend the hearings and that she hasn't spoken to Del Camp since she was arrested last month. Quote, "I will be there. And I want to hear what they have to say, Kegler said. I will continue to fight for justice for Arabella, and I want those responsible to be brought to justice. Now, Lord knows that we could get into all sort of nuance as far as Arabella Parker and her immediate extended family, right? And perhaps we will. But right now, that strikes me as the most important. That's where me and Mandy Kegler seem like we're on the same page. When she goes out of her way to say this, she says, I want to hear what they had to say. I want to hear it. That's the thing about, that's my motto is I want to hear it. I don't care if you're lying. I want to hear what you have to say. All right, because until then, I'm just hearing hearsay and speculation. All right, she said, I will continue to fight for justice. Okay, so she feels like justice is not carried out and it needs to be carried out. I would totally agree. I would totally agree. And hopefully I can lend a hand somehow in doing that. Somehow. But and so in that regard, I just want to draw attention. What exactly happened? I want to know who did what. I need to know. Right? And I got a feeling, I got little assumptions. I think I do know what happened, but there are different ways of finding out, and we're gonna be entertained, I guess, if you will, to find out whether or not anybody's gonna get to the bottom of this. All right, because justice absolutely involves knowing exactly what happened that night. All right, and realizing our worst nightmares. Kegler was awarded full custody of Parker last month. Earlier this week, Northumberland County Judge Hugh Jones granted Kegler's request to cremate the child's remains. And I heard something about this. Arabella Parker's father, Carl Parker, refused to agree to cremation, and he said he had a Valley Church willing to pay for the funeral service. Kegler said the child had gone through enough and just wanted Arabella to rest in peace. And, with all these details, it's kind of like, family stuff, it's personal stuff. I can't tell you what's right or wrong. I would imagine that these people know a little bit more as far as the details and stuff. But that was a little thing that they kind of had a disagreement on. He's going to have to get used to it because as far as Carl Parker goes, I believe he's still locked up somewhere. It's not too much he could do about it. He's kind of got to take what he's given on this. And it's unfortunate. That is the father of Arabella Parker. But, I think she is going to get cremated. Here's the thing. The stress was on the justice. I happen to believe that the justice is in knowing exactly what happened. And then when we know exactly what happened, then reverse engineering it. And the problem is that I think a lot of us can guess what happened. And it's not what's being said. Basically, that Gerard Burgess was, in a sense, framed. In a sense. And this is just my theory. It's all speculation. But I think what we're going to find is a particular relationship between, let's see if we can get a picture of the lovebirds. All right? A specific relationship between Gerard Burgess and Samantha Del Camp, in which, quite typically, the mother of the child, who is older than Gerard Burgess, by 5 years, probably had the main custody of the child. And that if anyone was going to abuse the child, it would make sense that it was her and not some random stranger, right, that you just barely know. The thing is, if you imagine the scenario another way around, Samantha Del Camp, she immediately falls head over heels for this stranger and indeed starts living with him as she indeed is a worthless bum, right? Maybe she's got a job, but certainly she can't afford to pay for herself or her daughter, obviously. So she's living with people. And just to paint a picture, probably doing them pills, more than likely around that certain area. And I had heard reports, and this is all speculation, but of a constant reefer habit. And guess what? I would not be surprised by that. Not at all. For all of the people over there with reefer, it's like, dude, I've seen the ugly sides to reefer. I'm here to tell you. All right. So you got her and you got him. And here's the thing. Let's say that he was abusing Arabella Parker like we heard from Samantha. Okay, well, you put your daughter in that position and kept her there. all right? And you had more than enough time to get out of that position, and you didn't. All right, long story short, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of excuses. My theory is drugs. The drugs kept you there. Someone had access to drugs. Someone had access to a free residence that you could live in basically almost rent free. Someone had access to reefer, constant, and that's what you needed and stuff. So whatever did take place with your daughter, if it involves slapping around your daughter, I guess, well, yeah, that's just collateral damage, right? So my theory, before we get out of here, my argument would be that if we had anything coming close to justice in this country, it's something we got to work on. If we did have anything coming close to justice, we would want to figure out exactly what happened that night. And either way, we would probably lean towards issuing the death penalty for either one of these people, right? Regardless of what happened that night, might think about issuing at least the possibility, all right? Because let's think about the most, again, my theory, the most simplest theory is that Gerard Burgess, he was a witness to a lot of this abuse. He's a younger guy and stuff, and he didn't feel like it's his place. He doesn't know. We're from a generation of like single mothers and stuff. A lot of people don't know the authority of a man or anything, or the role of a lady. They know nothing except for drugs, dude. It's Pennsylvania, right? So, there's all sort of this and that going on. This story is much more wild than it even seems right now. That much I can promise. So Gerard Burgess, he's hanging around. He's got access to, I guess, this lady and her services. I'll leave it at that. Moves her into the house. She's one of these typical runaround, can't pay for herself, has a child, is dragging it along. And meanwhile, it's not about the child, the security of the child. All right. So they're having fun, they're having a good time, they're doing these various drugs and stuff on and off, trying to feel good about themselves. Gerard Burgess, he's witnessing to this abuse, not saying nothing hardly, still clinging on to let's do some drugs and stuff and just live for the moment. All right, all sort of child services come through and they're checking up on the child and they're not sure about it, and that's how they're living their life. Meanwhile, Samantha loses it one night, maybe just randomly at the beginning of October, and just beats her child in a very public fashion where everybody can see it and knows about it. All right, but she accidentally goes too far, as you can with a very small child, very immediately, and does the wrong thing. The child hits her head on the ground. All right, and I know this is all speculation, and none of this, I'm not saying any of this is factual, but the child hits her head on the ground and begins really having a bad reaction to that. Samantha Del Camp, she's kind of infuriated by that. She's like, oh, what, you're gonna play like you're hurt now? And we've seen that before. Oh, you're gonna play like you're hurt? Hits her again. And maybe hits her again before she realizes, oh, this child's incapacitated. I went a little bit too far. And then Gerard Burgess is not too far away. He's looking at it and going, what the hell is going on right now? And his brain's hitting the panic mode. He doesn't know what to do. He knows that his whole life and that whole house is swimming in criminality. All he does is he looks at Samantha Del Camp and says, you better fix this. You better find out how to fix this. And so they don't know. I don't know if anybody ever suggests, hey, let's call emergency before someone says, hey, you know what? Let's just hold it, keep it on hold. Maybe we can Google it. All our answers are found on Google. Let's Google it a little while and see if maybe, okay, it's a seizure. This child's having a seizure on the ground, bleeding on the ground. Let's see if we can fix this because we might get into trouble. And it's from there on out, one way or another, that Gerard Burgess and Samantha Del Camp actually make a deal. All right, they're like, dude, we're both in a bad way and stuff. She's like, dude, if I get find out, I'm gonna tell them about how you were selling all my baby daddy's stuff on eBay or something, and that's gonna be a crime. You don't want to go down for that. There's all sort of illegal stuff, and I can rat you out. And they were both like, okay, all right, let's make a deal. All right, let's not rat each other out. Well, we got to figure out something. We got to say that she fell. We got to bring other people into it, and so that they can give us alibis. All right, and they start cooking up this whole idea, and Gerard Burgess, he's talking to this older lady, and he's like, okay, all right, if we just play it cool and stuff, man, maybe we can get out of this. Maybe we can get out of this. All right, so they go, and now they're being held by the police. Now they're being questioned. Gerard Burgess is like, she fell off a chair while she was eating and stuff and bumped her head. We don't know what's happening. All right, and then meanwhile, Samantha Del Cant, all right, just to finish it off, she rolls up in there, cool as a cucumber, and says, Gerard Burgess is beating my daughter. All sort of ways. And I was a victim, and I couldn't stop it. I don't know what happened. He did it. Are y'all going to believe it? And they say, yeah, we believe it. We're going to write it down in some articles. All right, we're going to see if the public believes it. And that's about it. Y'all, I ran out of time. It's about 10 o'clock, so I do have to go and stuff, man. Shout out to everybody who's up in the building and stuff. And like I said, you know, next time we get on, and it might be again on YouTube, we're going to switch it up to D Live, but I don't know how many, it might take me to the weekend to actually get that situated. So look for us up on YouTube and on BitChute, of course. And I got to get up out of here and go make some money and stuff. So I appreciate y'all. It is December the 11th, 2019.